Blog Talk Radio. The following broadcast is brought to you by the iGolf Sports Network. The Women of Golf show is sponsored by the iGolf Sports Network and Golf Tips magazine. Here's more about our sponsors. iGolf Sports is a live stream broadcast and media production company providing quality programming designed to attract the golfing enthusiast. And Golf Tips, the game's most in-depth instruction magazine, including reviews on the latest equipment, tips from top teaching professionals, all designed to help you improve from tee to green. Good morning. Welcome to the Women of Golf, the #1 women's golf show around the world, with hosts Ted Odorico and Cindy Miller. Join them as they interview some of the best players from the Symetra, LPGA, and Legends Tour, and so many others, helping to elevate women's golf. So without further ado, here are your hosts, Ted and Cindy.
All right, good morning, everybody. Once again, welcome to the Women of Golf show. I'm Ted Odorico, and right alongside, of course, is none other than Legends Tour player and LPGA professional Cindy Miller, and we, of course, are your hosts. Good morning, Cindy.
Good morning, Ted. What's up?
Well, we're going to have an awesome show. We've got a great young lady coming on. She's been here many times before. In fact, she was here just a few weeks ago. We'll bring her out in a second. Of course, I'm talking about Ruixin Liu, who just won this past weekend's Symetra Tour event, the Casino del Sol Golf Classic. This is her 6th overall and her 2nd of the season out of 3 events that she's been in. We're going to talk about that. And then a little bit later on, Cindy, we're going to be joined by Britni Gielow. She is an LPGA Class A teacher professional and owner of Gielow Golf. We'll bring her on the second half. So we don't have to introduce this young lady because we've said so much about her in the last year or so since she's been winning all these events. And we were just talking a second ago. We said the last time she was on, which was just a few weeks ago, go out and win another tournament. You can come back. So she took us up on her offer. So, Cindy, let's welcome Ruixin Liu.
Good morning, rock star.
Good morning, Ted and Cindy. How are you?
We're doing good. I don't think you heard you.
Are you getting sick of us? I don't know if she can hear me. I said, are you getting sick of us?
No. I mean, it's always great to come back and talk to you guys.
Well, good.
She had to think about that one first, though.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, a little hesitant there. So, Ruixin, let me ask you something. So, first off, congratulations from us both on winning this past weekend's event. And as I said, you won just a few weeks ago. And I remember the story a little bit that you actually had not played for several months. You'd gone back, I believe you said you'd gone back to China, which is, of course, where you're from. And you were nursing a little bit of a foot injury. You came back and I think maybe had like a week to play a little bit or practice up, and you went out and won the first event of the season on the Symetra Tour. I mean, that pretty much sums it up, right?
Yeah, I mean, earlier of the year, I was basically stayed back home to treat my foot all the way until beginning of March. And then I only spent a week, maybe 10 days at Florida, trying to get back. And then we started at Arizona. So didn't have much time, but it turned out pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd say it turned out pretty good. And then you went on to the next event, which I believe you said just a moment ago off air that you tied for 5th. So that's nothing to sneeze at either. That's a pretty good finish there. But then you went right back out and you won this past weekend in another, if I remember correctly, the first one ended the same way where you tied and then went on to win in a playoff. And you tied this last weekend and won in the playoff again. So walk us through a little bit of the tournament this past weekend leading up to the final round.
So the first few rounds, pretty decent, just playing my golf. And then, first 2 rounds is both 4 under. which for this course, there's a couple of par fives that I actually can reach into. Most of the girls can. And so the wind wasn't so bad because I was playing early, like 7-12 the first round. And so the wind wasn't that hard, and I was lucky to be teeing off that early to be able to give myself a chance to shoot low. And then second round, I was 4 under after 9 holes. But then hole number 10 is a really tricky par 5. And after I doubled that one, it was kind of like, you know, it hurts a little bit mentally. So from that point on, just nothing drops for me. And I was basically 6 shots back to start the final round. So for me, actually, didn't really thought about, you know, I can do this. But of course, you know, the final goal is to win. It's to win every week. You're trying to win every week. But at that point, I really didn't think about it because I was, you know, 6 shots back, and I'm not even talking about I'm second. I was third at that time. So 2 girls I need to go chase. And so I think mentally I'm pretty relaxed at that point because, you know, there's no that pressure. If I'm tied with someone, then that's a different story. You have to go get it, and you have to push from hole number 1. But it didn't happen for me. I mean, the fact is, I even bogeyed my first hole on the final round. So I don't think that's like a really bad thing just because right off the bat you have a bogey. You kind of, that's like, you know, that makes me awake a little more. It's like, hey, it's time to go to work. And I think I'm just mentally more relaxed at that point.
You know, you mentioned that you were 6 shots back going into Sunday's round. So as you said, you know, you're a little bit relaxed. You're not tied with the lead or even, you know, a close second. So you can go and just play your game. And obviously if the putts fall and, you know, the shots are there, then you've got a good chance of catching up. But I really like your approach is that you don't allow it to, or your mental side of the game sort of overtake your playing side. You're very relaxed, very calm, and that's unusual, you know, for a lot of golfers to be able to be that relaxed. Wouldn't you agree, Cindy?
Absolutely. But again, you know, she's 6 shots back. She does just go play golf. There's no pressure. So I agree with her. So tell us about the round. What happened? Somebody must have shot a high number. You shot a low number, and give us a scoop.
So it's basically, you know, the windiest day out of the 4 days. So at that point, the front nine was really, really windy. All 3 of us on the final group, it's pretty much struggle from the gate. And I bogeyed the first one. And then I birdie, I believe it's number 6, is a par 5. And then I birdie number 9. So I was 1 under at that point. And our leader, I think she shot 2 over, I think. So that's 3 shots already. And then after we make the turn, the wind all of a sudden calmed down. And I'm like, this might be a chance to go low for the back nine. And then, but, you know, also at that time, I really wasn't thinking about the final result at all. I was par all the way from number 10 to number 14. I'm like 3 shots back when there's only 4 holes to play. And number 15 is and I birdied the last 4 straight, which is a par 3, par 4, par 4, par 4. And it was 2 wedge shot in and then 2 9-iron. And they were all pretty close. The first one is 6 feet. The second one is 7 feet. The third one is 9 feet. And the final one is 2 to 3 feet. So it was really, you know, once I'm there, once I get the first 2 birdies, the adrenaline started coming up. So everything is just so straight. And it feels really good, you know, to birdie the last 4.
Then you're in a playoff.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Are you there?
Yes.
So you were in a playoff, yes?
Yes. So we played 2 holes, just like a few weeks ago.
Wow. Listen to you. So I just have to. Normally, if you win 3 events in a calendar year, you get put up to the LPGA Tour. Is that true?
I believe so, because the last time I won 3 in 2018, it was the last 2. I win the first one in July, and I win the last 2 of the season, so it doesn't matter. So I didn't really understand the policy, but I believe it's like if you win 3 in the same calendar year, that puts you up to the LPGA automatically. But I think this year they're sticking with the money-less.
Wow. But the catch is, if you play well all year, you're going to be exempt for the LPGA Tour anyway.
Yes, that's true.
Got it.
Wow.
Ted, go ahead.
So what was your mindset? Let's go back to the playoff a little bit. You were up against a young lady from Switzerland, Morgan, I believe is who it was, and very similar to the event a few weeks ago. You played 2 holes. The first one you went tied, and then you got a little bit more aggressive on the second one. Was your mindset pretty much the same going into this playoff, where you're just going to focus on your game? You're not going to allow, any sort of negative thoughts creep in. You're just going to go out there. You're going to focus on the hole, do what you need to do to get it done. What was your thought process as you stepped on the first tee of the playoff holes?
Well, last time when I did the playoffs, that was actually my first ever playoff in my life. So there's a little bit nervous going on there, from myself, just because I never done it before. And this time, because I already done it once and I actually won. So there's more of like excitement going on, especially I just birdied my 72 holes, So I know the hole. I know how to play that pin location, even though it's tucked right back with waters on both right and back side. But I actually put it just 3 feet from the hole, so I was really, really exciting about playing the playoffs. And, Morgan and I are from the same golf course down at Lake Nona, so we see each other pretty often, so we kind of know each other. And that kind of eased the whole situation. And the first playoff hole, we both didn't get really close. It's just because I was between my pitching wedge and my 48 degrees. And because there's water on the backside, so I choose the 48 to be a little aggressive, just to take the water out of play. And because I'm a little bit aggressive, I draw it a little bit too much. So I'm like 8 yards on the left of the pin. And none of us made birdie because we were both pretty far away. And the second one, I'm like, if I want to end this one quick, I have to be really aggressive. I have to go towards the pin. And, the funny thing is, I was a little bit hungry at that time because it's been a long day. And I didn't expect to play that long, under the wind. So I'm like, I want to get out of here as soon as possible. So I just aimed straight at the pin. And it's like 12 feet away from the hole. And then very, very straight putt. Just aim at the back of the hole and just knock it down.
So, Cindy, let's see if we understand what Ruixin just said. She was feeling kind of hungry, so she said, "You know what? I'm going to end this now. I'm just going to put this away and go get something to eat. I don't want to play anymore. I'm hungry, so I'm just going to end the tournament and win it overall in the playoff." I mean, does it get any better than that?
Well, there's motivation, right? I'm out of here. Let me go.
Yeah.
It's such a long day in that windy weather, and your brain is kind of everywhere at that point, and you're playing the same hole over and over. So I'm like, I want to get out of here and just do the best I can.
Well, as Cindy said, that's some great motivation. So let me just ask you one other thing, and then, Cindy, I'll throw it back to you. So, Ruixin, let me ask you, obviously, overall, your game was pretty solid, throughout the tournament. Obviously, you didn't start off as well because you were a number of strokes back from the leaders coming in Sunday. But obviously, overall, your game was pretty solid. What part of your game do you think this weekend really helped you out the most? Was it your putting? Was it your overall short game? Was it your long game? What area of the game do you think was your strongest suit this weekend?
I believe it's my iron shot. So, for example, her second round, I shot 4 under. But I didn't feel like my putting is good at all because I hit 18 green in regulation. Even though I wasn't on the fairway all the time, but I put it on the green every single hole. And then I just made 4 putts. That's it. It's just my iron shot. I'm on the green. I'm giving myself a chance. And then overall, the whole week, the iron has been pretty solid. I didn't really worry about it's going way left or way right. I can be aggressive, just aim at the pin and just fire the shot. I think that gives me a lot of room to work with.
Wow. Cindy, 18 greens in regulation. It doesn't get any better than that. Go ahead.
You know what I hear? There is no emotion. It's what are the facts, ma'am? What was that, Dragnet? Just the facts. And that's what I hear you saying is, okay, I'm hungry. Let's get this over with. Fire at the pin. Let's go. Not, I'm going to win my 6th tournament and I want to be exempt, and none of that. It's just, let's get this done, and good for you. That's great. Absolutely great.
Yeah,
now, what's going on? Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. So I was really thinking about, I did my best out of the day. In that really windy day, I shot 5 under. It can't get any better, I'm just really happy with myself. So whatever result is for the playoff, I will take it. It's a good day at the end of the day, no matter what the playoff result is. So I think, really good mindset overall.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, what's this week?
Utah. It's a new course.
Super. And today's Tuesday. Is it 3 rounds or 4?
Yes, so it's going to be a longer trip to the next one, so it will actually be Saturday finish.
Say that again? So
because it will be a longer trip to the next week, it will actually be a Saturday finish this week. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Ah.
Really?
Yep.
So you're in Utah now?
Yes, we got here yesterday.
And did you get a chance to play, or are you going to play today?
I'm going to play today after this phone call.
Awesome. And it's really early there.
It's 7:18. I have a tee time at 8:25. So I'm going to drive. It takes me 25 minutes to drive there.
Wow. Good girl. Good girl.
Very, very good, Ruixin. Yeah, let me ask you, it sounds to me really the strongest part of your game is really, I've been really listening to what you're saying this morning. And as I touched on a little bit earlier, you're very, very relaxed and very calm about your overall game. Obviously there's, little hiccups here and there, as we all have, but you don't seem to really sweat the small stuff, as they say, or really allow it to get you down. Would you say the mental part of your game is probably one of the strongest areas of your game?
I just feel like after all these tournaments I play on the Symetra, it kind of gives me a confidence in this environment. I already win 5 times. I know how it's going. I win it in many ways. I lead to win. I kind of chase to win. I was tied, and then I finally win. So I kind of was in all the situations before. And on the golf course, I'm like, I can't stress about coming because nobody's going to predict what is coming. So why stress about it? Just go out and play. Whatever comes, it comes, and just take it and move on. So there's not really, help if you start stressing about it before you even start it, That's only going to make everything tougher. So I will set a goal. I want to win, but that's always before I play. But once I'm standing on the tee box, all I'm thinking is how can I make the best out of this shot? And if it didn't turn out great, then think about what went wrong and then fix it next time. Because there's nothing else you can do. You can only swing the golf club for that golf shot once, right?
Yeah, no, that's a great attitude, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is you've as a result of these wins, number 6 now on Symetra. You're exactly right. You've developed a confidence that has allowed you to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to go out. I'm going to focus on this shot right now. Whatever happens, happens. If it comes off the way I want, great. If it doesn't, I'll figure out what it is I did wrong. And as you said, make it better the next time, but then move on. You're not going to dwell on it. You're not going to, let it creep into your mind and bother you for the rest of the day. You're going to just go on to the next shot and to the next and so on and so forth. So let me ask you, you mentioned a moment ago that you're in Utah now, and this is a new golf course. Do you do anything special to prepare? Do you study? Are you somebody that kind of studies the holes and really analyzes it, or you just sort of go out and say, you know what, it's just another golf course. I'm not going to, try to overanalyze it. I'm just going to go out and play the shots I know I'm capable of playing. And again, what happens, happens.
I try to see a new golf courses in the, the simple way, as simple as possible, because without playing in the tournament, if you overthink about it or if I analyze it way too much, sometimes you can, I can get trapped into a mindset, which I'm start calculating too much number. And that can actually really slow me down in my pace. And I don't want that. But I'm not saying analyzing is not good. It's just I don't want to do it too much. And in fact, for this week, after the California events, we have 2 weeks off. So we actually drove here and played a practice round. So that's, kind of gives me an idea what this golf course looks like. And I know it's tough. I know it's going to be windy. It's going to be up and down, hard to walk. So, and I just won last week. So that put a lot of pressure off of me. And I just want to go see what the golf course looks like this week, pretty much make some notes today, and practice a little bit tomorrow and see what's happening.
Well, it sounds like you've got a good formula for success. Obviously, it's served you well over the last few years, winning as many tournaments as you have. And, again, after having an extended period off, late last season into the early part of this year because of a foot injury, and then coming out right out of the gate and winning the very first tournament without really not having a lot of practice coming into it. And then here just a few weeks later, you're winning another event. You've obviously, what you do works for you, and, just stick with it because it's obviously a formula for success. Let me ask you one final question before we let you go. You obviously, as I just mentioned, you had a foot injury last year that kind of gave you some problems. How is it holding up so far this season? Is it bothering you at all, or has it been pretty good?
So before I left China, coming here, the doctor's saying it's pretty much 80 to 90%. And the fact I didn't feel any pain since then, that's a good thing. But we don't know until we are done for the whole year, because this injury started with constantly walking. So I need to walk a little bit more, longer. to see if it's fully healed. But at the point, it's pretty good so far.
Yeah, that's
great.
so far so good. So I think that's fantastic. Well, Ruixin, again, congratulations on winning this past weekend's event, and good luck this week. And by the way, number 7 is my lucky number, so feel free to win this weekend's event, and we'll have you back. We'll have you back next Tuesday for another discussion. But good luck this week.
All right, thank you so much, Chen and Cindy, and I will try my best to see you again as soon as possible.
All right.
Sounds good, sweetie. Go play a practice round. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
You're welcome. All right, Ruixin Liu, winner of the Casino del Sol Golf Classic on the Symetra Tour this past weekend, and in Utah this week on their next event. And, Cindy, just very quickly before we move on, I can't emphasize enough the calmness that she has. I mean, she's just so relaxed, just so, we're joking a little bit, but, going back to the playoff, I mean, you know what, I'm hungry. I got to end this event and, let's get it done. And so I can go and get a sandwich or something. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't seem like anything's shaking her. What do you think?
I think it's a great attitude. And like she said, I can't control what's going to happen. And she was 3 shots back with 4 holes to play, and she birdies all of them and wins in the playoff. So don't assume it's over or, either way. You've either won or you've lost. Never assume.
Yeah.
That's the lesson.
It's interesting that you say that because, leading up each week, I get I see the statistics as far as, where the players are in the event. And it was funny because I got the day before Sunday or on Saturday, I got the pairings and so forth. And I was able to see that she was 6 shots back. And I thought, she's having a pretty good tournament, but doesn't look like she's going to make it. And, voila, the next thing you know, I'm getting the info being sent over and say, Ruixin's going to be your guest Tuesday. And I'm like, what? She was 6 shots back. So, you're right. She just, I mean, it's just, and not to insinuate that she's not capable of doing it or anything. Obviously, we now know she is. But, you don't expect it. That's a pretty big, coming into a final round to be that far back. And I mean, she had some good rounds leading up to it, but, she was not leading the tournament. And, she wasn't just 1 or 2 shots. She was 6 back. And anything can happen. The wind picks up, the wind dies down. You get into some easier holes, some difficult holes. I mean, anything can happen. But I just, again, I can't emphasize enough. I just go back to her attitude. I have not, and I say this sincerely, of all the girls that we have interviewed on this show, I don't think I've ever experienced anyone with the same calmness and attitude as she has. I mean, usually they're saying, well, I'm thinking this or I'm thinking that. She just gets out there and she says, I know what I can do, I know what I can't do, and I'm just going to go and get it done, and I'm not going to worry about it. If I win, great. Obviously, I'm coming out here, I want to win, but if I don't, I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I'm just going to move on to the next event. And I think that's just a winning.
That's the truth. There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. And if you get ahead or behind, you're just messing with yourself.
Right, exactly. All right, we're going to move on here real quick. Quick message from Golf Tips, and then we'll interview our second special guest this morning.
The following ad is sponsored by Golf Tips Magazine.
Are you tired of being short off the tee? And what about those 3 putts? Forget about it. It's time you got serious about your game. Golf Tips, the most in-depth magazine in the industry. For over 30 years, Golf Tips has delivered expert content such as the latest golf instruction from America's top pros, simple-to-follow practice and game improvement drills, fitness and mental game tips, equipment, training aids, accessory and apparel reviews, golf destinations and travel tips for every budget, and so much more. Don't miss a single issue. Go to golftipsmag.com and subscribe today.
All right. Cindy, we're joined by a young lady who not only is an LPGA Class A teacher professional and owns her own business, Gielow Golf, but she also tackles much of the fitness, particularly the cardio side. And she's actually worked with Karen Palacios Jansen in doing so. And she's a great young lady. She was a former academic All-American at NCAA's Division III Hope College. Britni helped the Flying Dutch women's team qualify for the D3 National Championship for the first time in its school history back in 2015. She's also an all-three-time all-state selection for Division II girls golf and a member of the Mona Shores girls golf team that won 4 consecutive state championships from 2009 to 2012. And while playing competitively, she made several trips to see Patty Butcher, who worked with her on mechanics and obviously the mental approach to the game. And it was during that time that Britni developed an interest in teaching golf. So very interesting background here for this young lady. So, Cindy, let's welcome our second special guest this morning, Britni Gielow.
Good morning.
Morning. How are you guys?
We're doing great. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Where do you live?
I live in Michigan. So right on Lake Michigan in a little town called Muskegon.
Well, how nice. How nice.
Well, it's sort of. And it's sort of nice right now. We're getting out of the winter season. So we're hoping for some sunny weather and a little bit warmer than 40 degrees soon. So
I hear you. We're supposed to get snow tonight. I'm in Buffalo.
Ugh. Oh, okay.
So I think you're sending it my way. It's your fault, Britni.
Very good.
Go ahead.
So, Britni, let me ask you, as I just mentioned, you've worked with Karen Palacios Jansen, who we've had on the show from Cardio Golf a number of times over the years, and you're actually a certified cardio golf instructor. So tell us about how that came about, first off, and then we'll talk a little bit more about how you got into be an actual LPGA teacher professional. So how did you get involved with Karen?
Yeah, so she actually was at my first level of certification down in Florida at Daytona at the LPGA headquarters, and she was our teacher. And just during our breaks, we would do these stretch routines and little bits of cardio golf. And I hadn't really gotten into fitness quite yet. I worked out, but nothing crazy or anything like that. We didn't have any workout programs at college on my college golf team. So it was a little new to me, but I just could tell it was something that I wanted to do. And so I went up to her after, our whole week was done, and I said, okay, I really want to do this. How do I become, a certified instructor? And she said, well, the certification's not ready yet, but email me in a couple months. And I saw her at the PGA show in Florida again in January, and we just got the ball rolling from there. I did the whole certification through the online program that she has, and then I actually got to go down to North Carolina to her house and finish my certification with her in class, and I got to watch her teach a class, and I got to lead a class, and it's just been so much fun getting to know her, and she's become a great mentor to me and a really good friend. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, she's a great young lady. As I said, we've had her on the show a few times over the years, and really takes that side of the game, very, very serious. There's a lot of people out there that spend a lot of their time just focusing on, trying to hit the ball just perfect and trying to focus on the mechanics of the swing, that they forget about, the other side, and that is keeping yourself not just in good shape, but building the other set of golf muscles, if you will, and that's, your lungs and the core and all that kind of stuff. So tell us a little bit, for those that maybe are not familiar with cardio golf, what's really it all about? Give us a sort of a rundown.
Yeah, so cardio golf is, a workout program for golfers and non-golfers. I actually have quite a few non-golfers that take the class with me. In the beginning of a 45-minute class, we go through, a warm-up routine, because we really believe that,
you need to warm up your body before you go play golf or even just practice. And then so we'll go through some drills on how to do that, and then we'll focus on one part of the body, core, legs, back, something, simple but that everyone can do. And then the last part is working on our swing technique with our shorty club. And in Michigan, it's great because 6 months out of the year, some people don't want to go outside and play golf, and sometimes we can't go play golf, but we can work on our golf swings. And the shorty club is small enough that you can swing in your house, and you can always just, keep repeating the motions. And there's no ball, so every swing is good, and there's no outcome, which is really, really helpful, I think, for my students, so they're not seeing the ball fly, because I think a lot of people, will just focus on the outcome and not the process. And for that 6 months out of the year, we can just focus on the process. And you see a lot of great results, in the spring after they just do cardio golf all winter with me.
Well, and that's a great point. And, I've tried it. Unfortunately, I didn't have a shorty club. I used a regular club, and that's probably why I broke the lamp. But all kidding. Yeah. So yeah, you got to make sure that you get the shorty club to go with it.
Yes.
But no, it's a great program. Yeah, just especially for all the guys out there that think, oh, I'll just take my wedge and use that. No, you can't do that. You got to have the shorty club. So you raised on a very interesting point. I'm going to just ask you one more question, then Cindy, I'm going to throw it over to you. You talked about in your case, and Cindy's obviously, I'm in Florida, so that, I kind of have golf all year round down here for the most part. But, for you gals that are up in, Michigan and up in Buffalo, there's a lot of, I won't say downtime, but time that you can't get out there to the golf course and play. So this is a great opportunity. You touched on this. You said this is something that they can be doing to not only stay in shape, but also be working on some of the things that they're going to be using when they get out there early spring next year. So do you actually have, in addition to obviously the cardio golf program, do you have other things that you do to keep your students tuned up, as they say, during the off season for you up in the Northeast?
I do lessons inside too. I have an indoor studio that I have. If you need to come take a lesson, just keep everything, swinging and making sure it's working. I'll have open hitting times that you can come on in, but I really do promote mostly cardio golf in the winter, especially just because I know how much it can work. I just think it's super important that you work on your golf swing at least, 5 minutes a day. I know some people who just put the kids away for the winter because they have other hobbies that they do. And that's totally fine. But 5 minutes a day, you could just swing your shorty club in your house and be good to go, and not have it feel so foreign when you get outside in the spring.
Well, and that's another great point too, because the fact that you can do it for just a few minutes a day, obviously, a full-blown cardio session, you mentioned, maybe 45 minutes. A lot of people, especially this day and age, even though they're at home, may not have 45 minutes if they've got kids or they've got especially now with so many still doing some homeschooling, through this pandemic, it's not always easy to carve out 45 minutes, especially for, so 5 or maybe even 10 minutes is a little bit more attainable. So that sounds like something that anybody can do to sort of keep themselves tuned in. Cindy, go ahead.
How do people find you if they want to take this course, and do they have to be with you, or can you do it remote?
Yeah, great. So before the pandemic, it was all in person, and then Karen actually created the Cardio Golf TV app. So now all my workouts are on the app, and you can, follow along with my 10-minute core workout if you only have 10 minutes, or you could do, my 5-minute warm-up, my 10-minute core, and then my 20-minute swing, lesson on there too. So you can create a class all at your home now, which I think is even better too. I do advertise quite a bit at local gyms when we can. Right now it looks a little different, but hopefully relatively soon we can get back to in-person, just because I like that as well, because I can see what's happening. In your house, it's a little harder for me to tell what's going on with your club face at impact, and but in person, I had I think I was teaching 6 days a week before everything, with COVID happened. So I had quite a bit of support going on through the gyms in West Michigan, and it was amazing.
That's awesome. So people can go, what's the website?
It's Cardio Golf TV. And if you go to cardiogolf.com, it'll lead you to the TV, and then you'll get the app. And I believe it's still a 30-day free trial going on right now. I know that Karen does some promotions on there too. And you can get, so if you use my code, you actually can get all of her workouts too, and the other cardio golf instructors on there as well. So you get all of her workouts, all of mine, and it's really a great tool to help your golf game.
That's awesome. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
So, Britni, let me ask you, as I mentioned in the opening introduction, that you grappled on to Patty Butcher as a mentor, if you will, and worked with her. What did she teach you that has really helped you to where you are now? What specifically has she helped you with over the time that you got to spend with her?
Everything. So a little bit of background on that journey. I actually hated golf when I was little. So my brother is a former tour player, played at Wake Forest, and was on the Walker Cup. And we have quite a bit of an age difference between us, and I always had to go to his golf tournaments growing up. And I just wanted to run around, dance, talk, and you can't do that on the golf course when you're little. So golf was not my favorite thing at all. And so I didn't start playing until I was about 13, just because I thought golf was really boring. And then I wanted something to do in high school, and so I knew my golf team was going to be good in high school because I knew all my friends played golf, and I knew they were going to be good. And so I had to start working pretty hard and get good pretty fast to make the team. And my dad taught me in the beginning, and my dad taught my brother, and Patty was my brother's swing coach as well, and I'd go to all of his lessons with her. And, it came to a point where, my dad and I we'd butt heads on the range, and we knew I just needed a female teaching pro to go to. And so I went to Patty, and she helped me learn basic things that I needed to grow as a player. And but I think the most is she really helped me grow in the mental game of the golf game. She really, I think I could just relate to her as a teaching pro, and then we just, grew a friendship. And actually, when I was deciding what I wanted to do outside of college, I had a completely different plan than being a teaching pro. So didn't think I was going to have any golf in my future after I retired my clubs from Hope College, and that there were different plans laid out. And I remember having a conversation on the lesson tee with her, and it was probably in March, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do. I'm graduating in a few months, and I didn't like the plan I was on. And she said, and I just looked at her, and I was like, how do I become you? And she said, you go get certified through the LPGA, and this is the steps you take. And she goes, and I will have a job for you when you get out of your certification or when you graduate. And I went to nationals my senior year, and I got home on Sunday, and I started working for her on Monday. And she helped me grow as a teaching instructor so much. I learned a lot from her in that first year. I knew about the golf game, but I had no idea how to run a golf clinic. simple things like that, and just learned so much on how to be a successful businesswoman in the golf industry, because she's amazing at what she does, and just having to learning from her in that first year was overwhelming. And then, worked for her for a few more years, and then, so she's in Grand Rapids, probably about 45 minutes from me, and I was still wanting to live in Muskegon, so I was commuting, and I said, okay, I'm done with the commute. Can I, take this on my own? And she was like, yeah, let's see what happens. And I did, and I opened my own golf academy, structured it very similar to what she does, and it's been great. I definitely, she set me on a path that I had no idea I would be on, and it's been amazing.
Wow. It's just it's a testament to really, obviously the skill that Patty brings to the game and the ability to mentor. And that's really what this is all about. And I have to be honest, Cindy, you've heard me say this before as well. My hats are off to, and this is one of the reasons why we do this show, to the LPGA organization and all of its members and all of those that help out, not just those that play on tour, but those in the teaching division as well, because they really do give so much. Cindy is another, great leader in the industry and has mentored. I mean, we have many, many people that have come on this show who all know who Cindy, not just because they've seen her on TV, but just because of the outreach that she does within her community of fellow golf professionals and so on and so forth. And it's so important. And what's really interesting about, Britni, about your story is you have a very similar, except for she didn't go on, obviously, to be a teacher, but my sister had the same kind of attitude, couldn't stand golf, thought it was boring and this, that, and the other. And I short of beating her over the head at the time, I said, look, get out there and try it. And, unfortunately, she's no longer with us. But up until, her later point in life when she passed on, she learned to love the game and really enjoyed it from a different perspective, obviously. But again, so you never discount that. And so you obviously went from, not loving the game, not having an interest in the game, to playing, in college, and then going on to actually developing a career. Do you want to do something similar in addition to obviously teaching and doing all of the wonderful things that you're doing in your lesson, on your lesson tee and so forth? Do you want to pay it forward? And are you doing something now to prepare for that to the next generation that's going to come after you?
Yeah. So I really love growing the game for women and then younger girls. So I have a girls golf club, which I love because even if they don't love golf, I tell them my story and they'll be like, oh, okay, So I definitely think it's important to grow the game for younger girls, and just show them that golf can be fun at a young age. It doesn't have to be boring. And then I'm actually so my alma mater at Mona Shores, I'm actually the varsity coach there. So that was kind of a fun addition into my other jobs. And so it's been great to watch them, grow through their games in golf and see how they can grow as people. And I think the one thing that Patty really helped me understand was, golf can teach you skills that, you had no idea you were going to learn through the game of golf. Golf can teach you so much about yourself. I had no idea that I could be so patient. And I'm not a patient person at all. But golf had to really teach me how to do that. And I also, golf has taught me so much about myself, but I think what I really try to take away from lessons with Patty is when you're on the lesson tee with me, I really just want you to feel comfortable with me, and we're going to just be friends for that, 60 minutes. And I want you to know that I'm always there for you. And anything you need, I will help you, in any way I can. because when you're on the lesson tee with Patty, you instantly become one of her friends. And I think that's super important, instead of, me just telling you what to do in the golf swing, but just growing a relationship and how can I help you make par on this hole that you really don't like at your home course, Simple things like that help. I think you can come see me for lessons, but I really just want to grow our relationship as friends. And then, when you come back to me, we can talk about all your rounds and everything that happened in all of them. So it's just more of like a friendship on the course with me.
Right. Well said. And I think it's important too, for so many people out there, there are so many life lessons really that you learn through the game that people, and you've admittedly acknowledged yourself that you didn't really know about yourself. But once getting into this game, it sort of shone a light, if you will. And, I think it's great for some of these young girls, coming up. We just talked to one off of the Symetra Tour who, again, has won multiple times, just has a great attitude, loves what she does, gets out there and grinds it out week in, week out, and has just learned to really embrace what it is that she can do so well and not, sort of sweat the small stuff. And it served her very well. Cindy, go ahead.
Yeah.
Do you find that your story, again, I think one of the best things about the LPGA is that we are a group of almost 2,000 people, women, who all have a personal story that really care about serving others due to our story. Like you, I didn't really like golf. I was dragged to lessons in the range and tournaments to watch my brother play. I might have been a little obstinate about it. And my story was I've always been told I'm not good enough. So I look in somebody's eyes and I say, I'm going to make you good enough. And, you got to know that you don't believe in yourself, but I believe in you. So I think that's helped me. Has that helped you?
Oh, yeah. I love the LPGA organization. I didn't really know much about it until I went to my level 1 certification. And you meet like the most wonderful women, and they become mentors and friends, and it's just the best, I think, the best organization to be involved in because, everyone cares about you. They become family. If you need anything at all, there is probably 10 people that you could reach out to for help, and they'll help you, which I think is amazing. And it was so much fun to hear everyone's personal stories going through my certification, because everyone has such a different background, and it does help to tell your story. And I definitely think it helps to tell, mine to my younger girls, because I can tell some of them maybe are on the fence of if they like golf or not. And I can tell when a kid is there just because their parents want them to play golf, and we just work on having fun with golf rather than, okay, we're going to make your swing perfect, and I think it does. If I can inspire one person, that would just mean the world to me. So I just try to, tell them that golf can be fun. It doesn't have to be boring. And the most important part, I think, is golf is a lifetime sport, and I've met some of my best friends through golf, and I don't know if I would have met them if I hadn't played golf. And I think that's really important.
Agree. Ted?
Well said. So, Britni, let me ask you something. I want to go back to something you said a few moments ago about what you want people to feel when they're with you on the lesson tee. And I think one thing that stands out with me, and I've heard a lot of golfers say this when they're going to take lessons, they're very intimidated. They know obviously the instructor, has the skills and the ability to be able to play the game at a higher level than most of them could. And so they're very intimidated. And so if you had somebody, let's say, that's brand new to the game, and obviously as a result of this pandemic, there's been a lot of people, I'm sure you've witnessed it as well, just by virtue of, I got to get out of the house. I can't stand watching any more Netflix. I got to get out and do something. Golf was one of the few, respites to be able to do that. somebody new coming to the lesson tee that's never picked up a golf club before is maybe a little bit, intimidated or shy or apprehensive. What's going to be the conversation you're going to have with them?
Yeah, I definitely remind them that golf is a game of baby steps. It takes it's a process. If they're really, frustrated with it, I really want them to know that, and, we start usually at the green, because if you can chip and putt, drop a ball 30 yards from the green and start there. So if you're really, really intimidated by the game of golf, you don't need to start at the tee box. You can, if you're playing with someone, you can drop up by the green and then work that way. A little bit like a Operation 36 model kind of philosophy, just because I think that's where people start to get very, very nervous around the greens. And if they can tackle that, then, check in that box, and then you can move back a little bit. But if you're really, really feeling nervous on the lesson tee with me, sometimes I bring out my cardio golf club, to be honest, just because there is no, you're swinging in the air. You don't hit the ground. You're just working on technique, and there is no outcome with the ball. So sometimes I do that, which is just a little trick, and it'll help them kind of work on the swing without being too overwhelmed by it. But usually I'm pretty calm, and I'll either just start making, silly little jokes with them to relax them, or, any way I can to help them just work on things that will make them feel a little bit more at ease on my lesson tee, because I don't want anyone to feel extremely nervous over anything with me. But we'll talk about a game plan on how they cannot be nervous on the golf course.
I think that's great. I think sometimes a good, healthy distraction is good. Because you're right. People come up and they've never played maybe before. They don't know. Particularly for women, and a lot of women coming to the game, I've heard them say, I don't want to look foolish. I don't want to, embarrass myself. I've never played this game before. So they're very, very apprehensive, and I think this is why the LPGA has been such a great organization in helping bridge that gap, if you will, and getting more women involved by having so many great professionals from the LPGA going out there and helping to ease a little bit of that stress for some of the especially the newcomers to the game. Very quickly, we literally only have a moment left, but if you want to share with the listeners the best way that they can reach out to you if they're going to be up in the Michigan area or through some online programs that you're working through, what's the best way that they can contact you?
They can go to my website at Gielow, Gielow golf.com. And then if you want to go to cardiogolf.com, you'll see the Cardio Golf TV login and all that process. And then I'll be right on there with all my workouts and anything that you might need for golf fitness. And then instruction would be on my website.
Perfect. Well, Britni, we want to thank you very much for coming this morning and spending a little bit of time with Cindy and I. We appreciate it. We appreciate what you do, and it's great that you've paid some homage to Patty Butcher, who obviously has been a mentor to you, and I'm sure there's going to be a point where somebody's going to say the very same words about you in the future as you pay it forward. But thank you very much for joining us this morning on the Women of Golf, and we'll hope you come back and see us sometime.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciated it.
Thank you, Britni.
All right. You have a great day, and keep up the great work.
See ya. Thank you. Bye.
All right. It was Britni Gielow, Gielow. Golf.com is her website, and you can also check out some of her stuff on cardiogolf.com or .tv as well. All right, Cindy, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but who knows? Ruixin may join us next week if she wins this week. So we'll keep our eye out and wish her well. But thanks for joining Cindy and I this morning on the Women of Golf. God bless everybody and have a great week. Thanks, Cindy.
Thanks, Ted.
Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed listening to this week's Women of Golf show. Ted and Cindy wish to thank this week's special guests. Remember to join them every Tuesday from 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern here on the iGolf Sports Network or on any of these social media platforms: iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, CastBox, TalkStream Live, and of course Spotify. To get updates on the show, you can follow the Women of Golf Facebook page at www.facebook.com/womenofgolf. This has been a production of the iGolf Sports Network.